because I have been of the belief, especially over the last few days, that if Michael Mayer is there, I think the Cowboys make that selection. The question is, will he even get there? Because as we go to the NFL Nation mock draft for ESPN that was conducted tonight, their group of writers, all 32 writers covering all 32 NFL teams, made their picks. And I guess there's only 31 teams picking in this year's first round because the Miami Dolphins forfeited their selection.
For doing shenanigans.
Out here on the shenanigans. Now, the Chargers in this particular mock draft, they actually took Michael Mayer at number 21 overall. Now, let's just run down the first 5 for you because this will be of interest to you. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
So that means Houston takes a quarterback. Will Anderson goes at 3. Your boy Anthony Richardson goes at 4.
Fantastic.
To the Indianapolis Colts. Jalen Carter rounds out the top 5, going 5
to Seattle.
The Fighting Geno Smiths. Tyree Wilson goes at 6 to Detroit, so on and so forth. Now, the first receiver doesn't come off the board in this draft, mock draft, until 11 with Jackson Smith and Jigba going to the Tennessee Titans. Zay Flowers goes at 12 to the Houston Texans. The first tight end that comes off the board, by the way, forgotten that Houston has 2 picks within the first 12 picks of the first round.
Dalton Kincaid, is that first tight end?
Tight end, yeah. Dalton Kincaid is the first one off the board, going to Green Bay after, of course.
That's an interesting way of going about that, right? If you add a pass catcher, specifically one that has like wide receiver type capabilities for a young quarterback that you're not exactly sure what he can do, but you want to give him the best opportunity to succeed. Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Bijan Robinson goes at 14 to the Patriots in this particular mock draft.
Well,
so there goes your Bijan Robinson fantasy there. Now, the other couple of interesting ones. 19, Will Levis goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Joey Porter Jr., which I would think would be a perfect fit, obviously, because his daddy played in Pittsburgh. He goes at 17 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Great fit there. Michael Mayer, as I mentioned, goes 21 to the Chargers. Who do you believe that Todd Archer of ESPN, who covers the Dallas Cowboys, selected at number 26 for the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm trying to remember who all did. Is it Osiris Torrance?
Offensive lineman for Florida.
Yeah? No? Okay. Oh, you want me to keep guessing?
You got one more in you or no?
Nah, I'm good.
At number 26, Todd Archer, based off of the way that this draft board fell, takes Will McDonald IV from Iowa State, the talented, that's right, the edge rusher from Iowa State. Now, here's what's interesting about that. Dan Quinn personally went to Ames and worked out Will McDonald IV. And we have heard quite a bit. There's an affinity for this player by the Dallas Cowboys. There's others that we have heard. Obviously, Michael Mayer, a name that's starting to catch a little bit of fire because, you know, the Cowboys do things like this. Drew Sanders, who's arguably considered the best linebacker in this draft, could possibly be in play at 26. But what do you think about the selection of Will McDonald there by the Cowboys based off of Todd Archer's pick for America's team?
Yeah, he's a really unique football player. Played right here at Denton Ryan. Played tight end and quarterback, and I think he, had the choice to go to Oklahoma as a tight end or Alabama as a linebacker, and I think he chose. I know he chose Alabama as a linebacker. John Stephen played against him in one of the state championship games, maybe. But he's a younger player than him, and John Stephen had left. Sanders played 1 year at Arkansas, which was this year, and transferred in from Alabama, and was wanting to have a change of scenery. Had a great year with Arkansas, and I think he's a very unique player. He understands the game well. He's a coach's son. Dad's a high school football coach. He knows what it takes. He's got great football IQ, great football and instincts, and a really good football player.
Okay,
He seemed to know a lot about Drew. Now, of course, that could just be he played for my guy's favorite college football team.
And his son knows him, fairly well, as well, or has an idea of him, obviously, as a player. So that's a name that could sneak in at number 26. But the name Will McDonald there is a name that we've heard quite a bit being linked to the Cowboys. And I tend to think, as we are now just a couple of days away, and by the time we get to around this time Thursday night, the Cowboys should be making their pick. If it's offense and he's there, I think the pick is Michael Mayer. You say Kevin, there's been a bunch of smoke screens, but there's too many people whom we tend to trust around this time of the year saying that particular name. And now the Will McDonald name is one that on defense, if the Cowboys go defense, I think could be the pick there. But again, we don't know anything for certain.
You could just, we don't know anything
for certain.
Yeah, man. So the draft boards ends up shaking different, trades end up shaking up the landscape. And then also, we only know but so much, man. Like, it's Lion season, and in addition to that, we're all hypothesizing. We've thrown out so many different things. Eventually, one of these things will stick to the wall, and we can go back and say, well, this person was right. How much of that was right, and how much of that just was happenstance. It really is just one of those things where we're going to have to see how this breaks out. And some of the reason why this seems so tough to be able to put our finger on is the Cowboys did a good job of making it so that there's not a glaring hole that is going to dictate to them how they handle this draft. Plus, they're lower in the draft, so there's a lot more contingencies. There's a lot more things that can change, whether it's, one team making a decision that you could not have foreseen and changing the way that all of the remaining picks fall. I'm very intrigued to see how it goes. And one of the things that I feel confident about is that the Cowboys are going to get a solid player. And
is there a position group that you'd be disappointed, though, in if that was taken at 26?
Kicker. No, jokes aside. Jokes aside. I know that some people, I saw someone on the truckwreck.com text line saying earlier, or actually that might have been YouTube, saying, do not draft a wide receiver. And I could kind of see that because of how the wide receiver class at the very top isn't as strong, and your wide receivers are pretty, full up in the ways that they are. I don't know. I don't know that there's one that I would be actively disappointed in just based off of what the position group is, because can I take you back to 2 years ago when they took a off-ball linebacker and we were all here craning our necks and such, and that dude
was like, "What you doing taking an off-ball linebacker
right?
at 12?"
That is a position that we all would have been like, "Yo, why are you doing this?" And he turns out to be one of the best defensive players in the league.
And then Michael's like, "Nah, actually,
so like, hey,
I do this other stuff too."
I mean, instant reaction is necessary in this game. That being the case, though, we gotta wait till we see football. So whoever they draft, I'm willing to go with for some level of. We'll find out. We'll see.
By the way, for this 214 that was wondering what the Eagles did in that particular case with the number 10 overall pick, they took in this mock draft Paris Johnson Jr. to go on their offensive line.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. Athletic, strong offensive line, continue to perpetuate that so you can keep pushing folks around.
So that does mean, yes, in this particular mock draft by ESPN, they passed on Bijan Robinson.
Oh, yeah, that would send us into an uproar. It would. I know us. It would. We'd all lose our minds around here.
Oh, man.